Yo, I've been thinking about devil fruits a lot lately. To me, they're still the premier power system in One Piece. Haki is fine, but it's way too basic and utilitarian to me. It's just not as fun. As opposed to devil fruits that are so diverse and can basically do anything. But more than just how it relates to the power system, I've been thinking about the mystery surrounding devil fruits. Stuff like how are they created, or how much of that power comes from the fruit itself and how much comes from the user. But probably the most important question is, what is the origin of devil fruits? As we all know, we just got out of Egghead, and Egghead changed the way I view devil fruits in a lot of ways. Vegapunk theorizing about the origin of devil fruits and positing that there is some extension of humanity's imagination really got me thinking. And there are two different ways that this statement can be taken. It could be that people's imagination led them to create devil fruits through science. I think this will make a lot of sense with what we know about artificial devil fruits and smiles and the artificial devil fruit that Vegapunk himself made. So you could take it in that direction, or you could take it in the direction that's more interesting to me, which is that Vegapunk meant this very literally, and that devil fruits are born directly from humans wishing them to be. I made a whole video about that idea that devil fruits are born from the strong wishes of humanity, but if we do take it that direction, it begs the question of who the f wished for the jacket fruit or the laundry fruit? First of all, Oda is wild as shit for giving the strongest female marine the laundry fruit. Are you serious, my nigga? But assuming that these fruits are hundreds and hundreds of years old, who asked for the specific ability to be able to clean evildoers like laundry, or to be able to turn into a jacket and anyone that puts you on is fused with you? That doesn't sound like a general ability that was just floating around. That sounds like an ability that was specifically created for the Kelly Funk brothers and for Suru. And in cases like that, it is much more likely that the fruit morphed itself to match the user's wishes. Like the fruit, in some sense, wants to make itself useful to the person that ate it. Maybe if a random farmer got the laundry fruit, he would use it to wash his crops or something. But even outside of those two examples, there are way too many instances of devil fruits not really doing what their name implies. Like when Zoro's fighting Kaku and he's doing like the pasta machine technique or turning himself into a perfect cube, and Zoro actually has to stop and question it because it's like giraffes don't do that. And remember, in Enies Lobby, Kaku was being made fun of relentlessly for getting the giraffe fruit. So it would make sense that both Kaku and his fruit both had an interest in making giraffes look cool. Or most recently with Kuma. When Kuma was a kid, he said he wanted to free and liberate people just like Nika. And when he got his devil fruit powers, he got the ability to do just that. I don't think that is a coincidence. And the pawpaw fruit is just a perfect example because the name of it and the core concept of it have nothing to do with what the fruit does in actuality. So I think it is heavily determined by the user and their personality, and therefore because of Kuma's personality, he was given the hands of liberation. So it's less that they have concrete abilities and more so that they change their abilities to match the dreams of the user. And I even think that if the current user's dreams align with the original dreams that created that fruit, it makes the fruit somehow stronger. I think that would make a lot of sense for Luffy, and what he's able to do with his fruit is because they locked in. Him and Nika is like this. So that brings me back to my original question. What was the impetus of devil fruits? After all, no phenomenon this expansive comes from nowhere. It has to have an origin point. Going back to Vegapunk's speech, he says something that hammers this home for me. Each devil fruit embodies a different wish someone had for our evolution. If only I could do X. It would be great if Y were possible. The powers actualize these sentiments, showcasing potential futures for humanity. And if we think about devil fruits as the extension of human evolution, it would make sense that devil fruits gradually over time became the thing that we know them to be now. Over the course of generations, like there are different generations of devil fruit. And as time went on, they became more complex and more spawned based off human ideas like jackets and laundry. And if we were to use that logic, that would mean that the first devil fruits were based off more simple concepts that humans would primally understand. Things like core concepts of nature, or things based off tales of mythical beasts that have been passed down since ancient time. And then maybe in the second or third generation there came ideas like souls or heat. And then later on down the line we get more complicated abilities like the ability to turn yourself into a toilet or some shit. But I think in the beginning, they all came from one common place, or maybe two, because the central concept for devil fruits as a whole is the freedom and imagination to use your abilities in whatever way makes sense for you. And when we talk about fruits representing freedom and imagination, what fruit embodies this concept more than Luffy's? Nika being able to pull things out of thin air and do basically whatever his imagination says he can, and knowing now that Nika's abilities are somehow tied to the mother flame and the infinite energy source, it would make sense that this first generation of devil devil fruits came from a desire to replicate that power. I think that originally things like the flame fruit or the light fruit came to be in an attempt to use them as some kind of nuclear power in the same way that Nika's abilities were. And then later on down the line, as the myth of Nika spread everywhere, new fruits came around that were more concerned with representing the ideology of Nika, which is where things like the age fruit or the pawpaw fruit come around. But I don't think that is the only origin point for devil fruits. As I said before, devil fruits are expansive and diverse, and it feels like there's a flip side of devil fruit. Fruits that are inherently darker in nature, things like the soul fruit or the yami no mi, that feel like they constantly and maybe even purposefully end up in the hands of evil people, or even the implication of the yami no mi actively putting itself in the hands of one of Blackbeard's friends to see if he had the darkness within him to grab it, or even things like the opi no mi, which had niggas fighting entire wars over it. I find it hard to believe that these fruits have the same origin as things like the Nika fruit, or even just mythical zoans in general. It feels like there are good mythical zoans like the phoenix fruit, and there are these more dark, sinister mythical zoans like the dragon fruit, or even Katarina Devon's fruit, the kitsune. Obviously, as we've gotten closer to the end of the series, there has been more and more focus on mythical zoans and zoans in general. Only talking about Wano and Egghead, we've seen more mythical creatures in One Piece in the past 300 chapters than we did in the first 800. And I can't help but feel like that is all leading up to something. And like I said, I feel like a lot of these mythical zoans originated off of the idea of Nika, but it will make sense that if these things did evolve over time, that they all stemmed from the most simple tale. The first mythical zoan, the devil, or the umibozu, or whatever the you want to call it, just basically something that represents primordial evil, something that humans would instinctually fear and that possibly some people would want to control. Recently, we've got a lot of little hints and teases to what Imu's power might be, and these things are so ambiguous in nature that they could be taken any way. But when you frame them in the context of what I've said so far, they start to make a lot of sense. First of all, the fact that the Gorosei teleported in with pentagrams, like that's just smacking you in the face. This nigga is the devil. And then just the level of control Imu has over the Gorosei and seemingly the ability to kill them at will at any point. It seems very reminiscent of the idea of selling your soul to the devil. I really enjoy the idea that Imu's fruit is some combination between the umibozu and the devil, mainly because of the interaction between Imu and Sabo. The attack that Imu hits Sabo with looks exactly like a devil tail, to the point where I really couldn't imagine it being anything else. But not only that, also how Sabo reacted to this attack, because Sabo's a pretty strong character, and that attack really only grazed him. But if you looked at his face when he got hit by that attack, you would think this nigga just got hit by a bus. This does make a lot of sense if Imu is based on the umibozu, because a creature that is directly tied to the sea would be able to do extra damage to devil fruit users. And it will make sense that this devil fruit is a progenitor of a bunch of other devil fruits, because throughout the story we've seen so many fruits that approximate one aspect or another of Imu's power. Like when Saturn died, one of the first things I thought of was the way that it reminded me of Big Mom's fruit and how she takes people's souls, or even Lost fruit with the immortality surgery, because apparently Imu has the ability to give 5 different niggas all immortality at the same time. On top of that, giving them the ability to teleport and shit, all very opi no mi-esque. But when it comes to being the original devil fruit, or one of the original devil fruit, you still need to tap into that original concept of imagination and evolution, which I still think Imu does. We already know that Imu is able to turn the Gorosei into different kind of yokai, and in my eyes, Imu is purposefully crafting these things based on tales and things that he's heard throughout his lifetime, which is still a kind of imagination and creativity, but I think it will exemplify the main difference between Imu and Luffy and the reason why their characters will clash. Because Imu has all of this power, but is still obsessed with replicating the past. We've already seen this with the attempts to recreate the Mother Flame and the ancient weapons, but it's also why I really like the theory of Imu having stolen Lily's body, because it just exemplifies that Imu is stuck in the past and he rejects progress or the future in any form, which was probably his main point of contention with the ancient kingdom. Maybe Imu's not in Lily's body, maybe Imu wants to revive Lily like Hogback with Sindri or something, but regardless, I still think that will be the main point of conflict between Luffy and Imu. Luffy will want to create something new, and Imu will be obsessed with retaining what once was. Progress versus tradition, the past versus the future. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all boys today. Let me know what you think about Imu's devil fruit in the comments below, and comment devil if you made it to the end. Just confuse all the niggas that didn't make it here. Like the video if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, man, I'm gone. Damn.